Hi, welcome. I'm Sophie and this is the Studio SE6. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have for you a short 25-minute flow-in practice. We'll work from the floor and up to a few variations of half moon pose. All you'll need for today's class is a yoga mat and maybe have handy a yoga block or a sturdy book similar in size. This may come in useful when we come into half moon poses. So taking that to the top of your mat just in case you need it. Other than that, we're all set to go, so let's get started. So we'll start today in child's pose. If you need to, taking a block or some folded blankets. We won't be here very long, but just elevating the hips so you can bring the hips to sit back on a block or folded blankets. So if you choose to take child's pose in this way, you're just hugging the block with your feet. Hips stay anchored down to whatever's beneath you, and then we can reach the arms in front. So a couple of options here with the arms. We can start with the forearms resting on the floor, head to another block, or we can stack fists and rest the forehead on fists. Just taking your knees as wide as you're comfortable to do so, just allowing space for the belly and the chest. If you're not using a block, then your hips come back to sit to your heels and choosing whichever arm position suits you best. So let's just take a few breaths here. Begin to soften the skin and the muscles of the face. Close the eyes if you want to. And begin to breathe in and out through the nose if you can. As you breathe in, guide your breath down to the belly. And feel the belly softly and naturally expand. And as you exhale, draw navel gently back towards the spine. And we'll take a few more breaths here. And with each exhale, just letting go of any physical tension. Letting go of any thoughts that come to the front of the mind. And just allowing yourself to focus on the present, staying connected with your breath. Should the mind begin to wander during your class, bring your focus back to each inhale and each exhale, staying anchored to your mat. And with your next exhale, take a long, deep sigh through the mouth. Opening the eyes if they're closed. And let's just make our way up onto all fours, stacking your wrists and your shoulders, your knees directly underneath your hips. Tuck the toes under and sit back to your heels. So you can remove the block now if there's a block underneath you or blankets. And we're going to reach the hands further in front. Keep the chest lifted, reach the arms as far away towards the top of your mat as you can. Now lower your forearms towards the floor, but don't let them touch. So forearms lower, wrists to elbows are still lifting, and elbows are hugging in towards one another. So we try not to let them release out to the side. Keeping this position, pull back with your hands and draw the crown of your head forwards. Bring your shoulders just forwards of your fingertips and then draw the belly in, drop the head to look to the navel and roll back in a cat stretch, back into that start position with the arms way out in front. Inhaling, pull forwards through the crown of the head, slide the shoulders to the waist, and exhaling to roll back. The arms almost skim the rib cage as you come forwards. And let's just do one more. Inhaling, pull forwards. And exhaling, roll back. Come back onto all fours and just tap the toes out. And now we'll take a side plank to the left. So turning the chest and the hips to the left, bringing your right knee and hip in line and your right ankle behind your right knee. Press your hips slightly forward, lift the top arm up and reach through the fingertips. The blade of the left foot is on the floor. Exhale, bring the top arm all the way round and inhale to open up. Exhale, big circle. Have a look and just make sure here that you're stacking your right wrist, elbow and shoulder. Last one. And on the next one round, leave the top arm over the ear and lift the left leg to hip height if you can. Keep pressing the hips slightly forwards and keep the right knee and hip in line. Soften the right elbow and press all the way up to the center, keeping exactly the same position with the legs. Taking your left hand down your left thigh, turn your front palm over, reach up to gaze towards the fingertips. You can even take the back of the head if that's more comfortable, and the elbow points up. Take an inhale here, relax the shoulders. With the exhale, maybe reach back a little more. One more breath in. And as you exhale, come back to that side plank. Again, knee and hip stay in line. Lifting up that left leg, reach up with the left arm. Bending the left knee and bring the left heel towards your sit bone. Press the hips forward slightly and reach back to take hold of the top of the foot. And just making sure that the joints are stacked in the right arm. If you can't manage to take hold of the top of the foot yet, then just the action of pressing the heel towards the sit bone and reaching back towards the foot is enough until you manage to get there, which you will eventually with enough practice. Opening up across the front of that left thigh, keeping the inner thigh parallel to the mat. Inhale, reach the arm up and the leg away. Exhale, again, come back to that center position. Bring your hands to your hips and turn the left thigh out from the hip. So from here, the toes and the knee point towards the ceiling, and then just draw that left heel in a little towards you. Now we're going to shift that right hip forwards towards the left heel and bring the left knee and ankle in line. So it's like a floor-based warrior two position. Your rib cage turns towards the front as you bring that left thigh open in line with the second and third toe. Reach the arms away, reach through the fingertips. Gaze over the fingers at the front. Keep pressing away from the front foot so there's some resistance against the floor. So we're not just dumping here into the hips. Pressing back up to the center, bring the hands to the hips, turn that left leg to face the front. Bring your hands to the floor underneath the shoulders and swoop that left leg back, and knee comes back underneath the hip into your tabletop position. Let's lift the knees just an inch from the mat. Draw the shoulders down towards the waist, keep the neck long. We're taking mini steps with the hands and with the feet to bring us back round to where we started, to the top of the mat. Making very small movements with the hands and the feet so we keep that tabletop position. And then resting the knees down. I'm going to switch sides so I don't have my back to you, but you can stay there. Taking a side plank now to the right, so opening up the chest and the hips to the right. Left knee, left hip in line, left ankle in line with left knee. Reach that top arm up, and the right toes point towards the front. Exhale, bring the top arm around, big circle, and inhale, lift up and open the chest. Exhale, and inhale. Last one here. Leave the arm over the ear and lift that right leg up to hip height. Really point through the toes, press the hips forwards. Soften the left elbow, press your way up to center. Just adjusting if you need to, knee and hip are in line. Take your right hand down your right thigh, turn your front palm over. Inhale, reach up, take hold of the head if you prefer. Exhale, stay here or maybe lean a little way back. Take one breath in, and with the exhale, come back to that half plank position. Stacking the wrist, elbow and shoulder on the left. Bending the right knee and take hold of the top of the right foot, or again, just flex the foot, pull the heel in towards you and reach back as if trying to take hold of the foot. Keeping that right thigh, inner thigh parallel to the mat, hug the navel to the spine. Open the chest, relax the shoulders. Open out the arms and the legs. Soften the left elbow and press back to center. Turning the right thigh out from the hip and then bringing that right heel in. Hands to the hips for a moment as we line up the front knee in line with the ankle, pressing the hips towards that front heel. Open the chest and reach the arms out, gazing over the front index finger. Just take a quick look, make sure that that right knee hasn't started to buckle inwards and it's still in the same direction as the second and third toe. Inhale, press back to center, hands to the hips as you turn the right foot forwards. Bring the hands down to the floor, finding that all fours position. Once again, tucking the toes under, lifting the knees just a little away from the floor, and mini steps with the hands and the feet in the same position, just to get you round to the front. Really try to stay in that tabletop position. Back to the middle of your mat. And then let's press back into a downward facing dog or child's pose. Working to sink the heels towards the mat without rounding in the spine. So start with bent knees, press your chest back towards your thighs, lift your chest between your shoulder blades so there's a broadness in the upper back. Roll your shoulders around your body. Press back through your fingertips and the mounds of each finger. And then, once the spine is long, you can begin to start to lengthen the legs. Maybe just pedaling through the feet, ball heel, and settle back with both heels reaching towards the mat just as much as they can. Keep your shoulders and your hips square. Let's take the right leg into the air for three-leg dog. So we can transition through to a high lunge this way or come to your knees and lunge through to the front with the right leg. If you're in a three-leg dog, heel comes to the bottom, lift high on the ball of the left foot, keep your weight back, and then begin to roll knee to belly, knee to chest, shoulders and wrists in line, and pull that right foot through to the right thumb. Make sure here that you're hip distance apart with your feet, and we'll come up into warrior two. Swivel on the ball of that back foot, bring the blade of the back foot down and turn the foot in ever so slightly. Front knee is over the ankle and you're stacking your shoulders and your hips. Reach out through the fingertips. And again, just like the floor warrior, you want your knee in the same direction as the second and third toe and directly over the front ankle. Take your back hand down the back thigh and turn the front palm over. Keeping the legs in exactly the same position. Inhale, lift up. Gaze towards the fingers or look towards the front. Stay here with an exhale or take it further back. Keep that front knee over the ankle. Relax the shoulders. Exhaling as you come through warrior two, turn your palms to the front and then let's hinge down. So one arm up, one arm down. And the right arm is just hanging on the inside of that right leg. Modify by having your forearm resting on your thigh. Taking your gaze to the floor, to the front, or up towards the top hand. With an exhale, press back up to warrior two. As we come now into half moon pose, you may or may not need your block to place underneath your right hand. Taking your left hand to your sacrum. We're going to hop the back leg in and let's just reach forwards so your thumb is on the outside line of your right little toe. You're just balancing on the fingertips. Now pressing up through the right heel, keep that left leg as it was so the hip is slightly turned in. Really reach out through the crown of the head. Stay here for a moment and you want to make sure that your heel, knee and hip are in line. So you can always bend the underneath leg if you have really tight hamstrings, or the block will help. From here, we can work to rotate the rib cage towards the left. Roll the shoulders back. The head can stay looking to the floor for balance, or you can challenge yourself and look towards the open side. If your hips are open enough and there's no pressure in the lower back, you can begin to roll that top hip open so the toes face towards the front. One more breath in. And with the exhale, shift your weight back into your warrior two. Land as gracefully as you can. Lift up onto your right heel and swivel to face your open side. Hands on the hips, roll the shoulders back. Inhale, open the chest and squeeze the elbows towards one another. Exhale, fold forwards, reaching through the crown of the head. Maybe soften the knees if you need to. Try not to just collapse into the lower back, so lengthen the lower spine so the pelvis is level. And then bring the fingertips to the floor. From here, we're lunging over to our right leg. Bend the right leg so the weight is back as if you were squatting down behind the toes. Right heel is on the floor. Keep the chest lifted, stay low, walk over to your left side. One inhale, one exhale, over to the right. And then we'll walk all the way over to the left. Turn your left foot to face the front and come up into warrior two. So that back foot slightly turned in. Drop the back hip down, bring the front knee over the ankle. Back hand to back thigh, turn the front palm over. Keep the legs where they are, lift up and out of the hips. Inhale, look to the fingertips or stay looking forwards. Exhale, maybe lean back a little more. Keeping the breath calm and steady. As you exhale, turn the palms to the front. Let's come forwards and bring that left arm to the inside of the left thigh and reach that right arm up, or again hand to sacrum. Choosing the position for your head which is most comfortable. Keep pressing into the feet, lifting away from the floor. Press back to your warrior two. Keep the legs where they are. Take the right hand open to the sacrum, roll the shoulder back and down. Stepping the back foot in slightly so that you can reach forwards again, outside line of your left little toe to the block or fingertips to the floor. As we lift up, just make sure that you're pressing into the front heel. The front heel, knee and hip are stacked, so we're not leaning our weight forwards. Draw the shoulders back, keep that same slight internal rotation with that back hip to begin with, and just make sure that that front knee is in the same direction as the second and third toes. Now try to open up the rib cage. Top hand can lift, or hand can stay on sacrum. And then from here, maybe, if it's not too much for the back, you can begin to roll the top hip open, so the foot faces towards the right. One inhale, one exhale, press your weight back and land softly with the back foot into warrior two. Take the hands to the hips, lift that front heel, turn to the front. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades, look up towards the ceiling slightly. Exhale, hinge forwards from the hips. Bring the fingertips down to the floor. And we'll walk around to face the front of the mat, so swivel on the ball of the back foot and the heel at the front, and step back into your downward facing dog. And again, so I don't have my back to you, stay where you are. I'm just going to switch myself on my mat. Taking your left leg in the air, or transition to your front, come into your knees first. Heel comes into the bottom, lift high on the ball of the right foot, roll underneath and lunge to the front. Come straight up into your warrior two position, and then straighten the front legs and turn the palms out. Take the back hand down the back thigh, turn the front palm over. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, maybe lean it back a little more. Coming into Trikonasana here, turning the palms out, reach the body weight forwards, and bring the hand either to the shin or hang on the inside of that lower leg. Reach up through the right fingertips. Keep opening the chest, rotating from the rib cage. Again, that back foot slightly turned in if it's more comfortable, so you're pigeon-toed at the back. Exhaling, pressing up. Come back to that reverse triangle. Inhale, reach up. And we're coming to a hanging half moon, so you can always use the block for your hand. Otherwise, we start to bend that front knee, drag that back leg in, one arm up, one arm down. Imagine there's a block underneath us. Again, you can internally rotate that top thigh a little. Gaze can be to the floor. Make sure front knee is facing forwards. If you want to, can I do this today? Turn the chest and the gaze. Woo. And then gracefully land back, warrior two. Whew. Bring the hands to the hips and lift onto the heel. Swivel to the front, pigeon-toed slightly in, hands to the hips, inhale, roll the shoulders back and down, lift the heart. Exhale, pull forwards through the crown of the head, fingertips to the floor. Walk your weight over towards your left leg, again making sure the weight is way back of your toes and left heel is down. Walk it back to the right. And back to the left. And last one, all the way round now to the right foot. Let's step back into our warrior two position. And we'll do the same thing with that hanging half moon on the right. Straightening the front leg, taking the back hand down the back thigh, turn the front palm over. Inhale, reach up, gaze at the fingertips. Exhale, reach back. Let's hinge forwards and take hold of your right shin with the right hand, or again, hang using your core strength just on the inside of that leg. Reach the top arm up or onto the sacrum, palm upturned. Take a moment here. Settle into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Finding a comfortable place for your gaze. With your next exhale, push away from the feet, come back to that reverse Trikonasana, reaching back. And let's find our way into that hanging half moon. Bending that front knee, turning the palms open, drag that back leg in, hold. And then let's see if we can lift that back leg, straighten the front leg. One arm up, one arm down. Palm on sacrum. Gaze to the floor. And then maybe rotating the rib cage open. And then maybe your gaze to the open side. And you know what? I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to stay looking at the floor. And then let's lunge back into warrior two. Hop the left leg over towards the left a little as you take that back hand all the way round and to the front. Let's step back, downward facing dog. Take one inhale and exhale, come to the knees. Opening up the knees as wide as you're comfortable to do so. And we're going to come back to that same child's pose that we did in the beginning. So if you need to, use the block. Otherwise, sitting hips to heels. Forearms down to the mat, and then either a block underneath the head or stacked fists. Keep the big toes connected and tuck the tailbone slightly under as you take a gentle rounding through the spine. And let's just take a few breaths here, closing the eyes, letting go of any tension in the face, in the jaw, around the eyes, in the forehead. And find a nice steady breath. If you can, breathing just through the nose, in and out. Taking a 4-count breath in, and a 4-count breath out. And we'll take 5 more breaths here, allowing the body just to reset and to return to a neutral state. Feeling the expansion in the belly and the ribs as you breathe in. Letting go of any physical tension, any mental stress. And on your last breath here, take a big sigh out through the mouth. And now let's slowly make our way up to a seated position. And we'll take one last breath in together. Inhaling, reach up, gaze at the thumbs. Take a big sigh through the mouth, bring hands to heart center, chin towards the chest. And thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed and benefited from this class. Please let me know in the comments boxes below, and I hope to see you again soon.